himself in there, actually.
Hello,
Matt Hughes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
A good Midwestern boy. All right, so it's official.
May 23rd, MGM, Las Vegas. Me and Matt Serra, yes.
And you guys are great friends. You get along well. You have a lot of respect for each other. You talk on a daily basis.
I just got off the phone with him.
Yeah.
The training's going great for him.
Yep. I mean, this is a perfect example of like two best friends deciding to fight, right?
You know, that's probably one of my more common questions. Is that real, what they see on the reality show? And actually it is. For some reason, he did not like me on that show. And from what he said about me is why I didn't like him. You know, but he kind of started out with the anger. It wasn't me.
Of course.
I'm easy going, man.
I know you are. I know you are. You would never. Anyway. This is how the Fight Club works. There's microphones set up in each aisle there. It's all about you. It's all about your opportunity to ask one of the greatest and most beloved champions in UFC history, Matt Hughes, any questions. I'm sure we'll talk about the Serra fight, future plans, what's going on in his life, what's going on in the UFC, tomorrow night's card, everything that you want to do. Come on and ask Matt questions. So work your way up to the microphones. Don't be shy. We'll get this thing started. Matt, when you come back here in Columbus, and I know we talked about this when we were in Chicago, but you being from the Midwest, you growing up in Illinois, myself growing up in Ohio, how much does it mean to you to see firsthand the great support that our sport gets in our part of the country, if you will, in our part of the world, in the Midwest?
Well, it's great to have the crowd support when you go out there for a fight. Whether last time I fought here in Columbus, walked up on the stage, and I just couldn't tell what people were saying. I thought I was getting boos, and I talked to Bert. And I said, Bert, they're booing me. He goes, no, baby. They're saying Hughes. And then I finally realized what was going on. So it's great to have crowd support where you go. They asked me to fight up in Montreal. I think it was Montreal, it was Canada, against Matt Serra. And I said no, I declined it. I've never declined a fight before. And I said, you know what, I'm not fighting Matt Serra up in Canada. There's no reason for me to do that. I said, put me in the Midwest or put me in Vegas, one of the two, and they scheduled it in Vegas.
So it will be UFC 98, May 23rd, Matt Hughes and Matt Serra. We've got microphones on both sides. We'll start over here. Fire away with your question, please.
Goldie, always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Matt, question for you. Obviously, you're Matt the husband first. You're Matt the father first. After you destroy Serra, are we going to see you more as Matt the fighter, Matt the trainer, or Matt the farmer?
Another real common question I get. You know what? I'm not making any decisions right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read my body after that fight, and I'll make a decision. This is my last fight on my UFC contract, but that really doesn't mean anything because the UFC knows that I won't go anywhere else and fight. So we're going to take some time on that one, and I'll tell you after the fight.
How much of Southern Illinois do you own? Do you have accounting yet?
I do invest in some land, but no, I don't have a county, or I don't have a whole lot of ground. So.
Pleasure to see you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next question, please.
Matt, how you doing?
Doing good.
From Toronto, big fan actually. Couldn't believe the heat I get from the GSP fans, but
Even if you don't want to fight in his country, he still likes it.
fair enough. You know.
Well, I think you.
Well, it's Montreal, so he's from Toronto, so they don't really claim Quebec, So.
Fair enough. Matt, I got to ask you regarding the Matt Serra fight. How do you see that fight going in your mind, and how do you see the fight ending from your perspective?
Boy, if you take me out of it and just let me look from the outside in, I got to think that I'm going to really be able to pick where the fight's going to be at. My wrestling, wrestlers have got that advantage of I can use my wrestling offensively, take my opponent down, or I can use my wrestling defensively and keep my opponent standing. So I think I'm going to pick where the battle's going to be fought at. So I think it's going to be my pace. I'll definitely push the pace on him. I think he's going to get tired on me. And when I want to go to the ground, I'll take him down. And when I want to stay on my feet, I'll defend any shots that he might have at me. So I think it'll go my way, to be honest. Of course, I've learned from his one-hit wonder on GSP that he's a big slugger. But I think it'll go my way. And my wife tells me that I will go all 3 rounds, and he will be a bloody mess when I get down. There will be no submissions or no cuts allowed in this fight.
Well, I got to tell you, my personal pick is Matt Hughes via TKO second round. So you heard it here first, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you very much. We got a microphone on this side too, so don't be shy. We're gonna let this cute little girl ask the next question. Go ahead, sweetie.
What's the toughest fight you've ever been in?
That's a good question.
Well, I forgot how many times I've lost. 5 or 6.
Not that many.
5 or 6. One of those times. Obviously. One time I went 25 minutes with Sean Shirk, and that was a tough fight too. Just 25 minutes is a long time.
And you won.
So and I won. So the long fight with Sean Shirk, or obviously one of the times I lost.
I remember one time, and I can't remember which one of the very few losses it was, but you might have even got knocked out, or it might have been GSP, and I just said, man, you all right? Goldie, I'm all right. I'm all right. And you weren't all right. You were pissed off. But all he's like, Goldie, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay. Were you convincing me or yourself that you were fine at that point?
I was.
But that's the kind of competitor and the kind of heart that Matt Hughes has, and that's why he's one of our greatest champions. Next question, please.
Speaking of losses, man.
Wow, he's 3 losses, 84 wins, and now we're going to break down every loss.
It's all right. Ask away. That's what I'm here for.
We know your great fights and your great wins. Tell me a bit about your first professional loss and how that affected you mentally, physically, and what you learned from that.
It's funny because that was back in 97 or 98, and I've got a real good reason why I don't have a good memory, and it's because I get hit a lot. I get paid to hit a lot. When my wife yells at me, hey, why don't you remember this?
Right.
I say, honey, do you remember what I do for a living?
Exactly, yeah.
I get hit
Yeah.
for a living. So
A lot.
It was back in 96, 97 or 98 when I had that loss, and I thought the sport was extremely easy because all it was probably my 6th or 7th fight, and all the fights before that went really easy. I mean, either I dominated him and won a decision easily, or I beat him in the first 3 minutes or something. And then all of a sudden I faced Dennis Hallman in the finals of the Extreme Challenge.
Yeah.
And 19 seconds after the fight starts, I'm laying unconscious on the floor due to a guillotine choke. So it was different, you know. And here I go from smashing everybody to laying on the floor unconscious. And I remember waking up and the ref saying, "Hey, do you know what just happened?" And I go, "Did I lose?" Plain as day, did I lose?
Something tells me I didn't win.
So it was hard to get through that. Now, in 99, I fought Dennis Hallman again, and I went through a bunch of wins, and I wanted to take that one loss off my record because I thought, man, I just want to get that one loss off my record. So I faced him again in UFC Japan, and I lasted longer this time because I lasted 21 seconds with him. So I really thought I was doing good.
That was my first UFC.
That was it really?
December 97, yeah.
So, and then later on that year, my next fight was Jose Pele Landy, and that was a loss as well. So I had 2 losses in a row, and that was hard on me. Just because I went through everybody, and here this one guy obviously figured out the riddle of Matt Hughes, and then I lost to Pele Landy. And so I had a good manager, Monty Cox. He threw me right back into fighting. Right as soon as I got home, basically I was training for another fight, and at that time he was just trying to get me wins. So he was paying opponents more than he was paying me to take a beating.
Yep.
And that's what it got me on the track. And then my next later on that year, I won the world title.
That's right. Yep. Went on
So
the
it's I tell you what, you're gonna go through streaks where you're gonna win one, you may win, or you're gonna lose one, you might lose 2 in a row, but you got to jump right back on that horse, fight again. And like I said, in late '99, early 2000, I had 2 losses in a row, and later on that year, I was the world champion. So. It's just
Just got to keep on keeping on.
got to keep on riding.
Yep, yep. And I remember that was the night where some young brother of Ken Shamrock was going to burst onto the scene, and I think 26 seconds later he armbarred Olympic gold medalist Kevin Jackson. Frank Shamrock and Randy the Natural Couture won the UFC heavyweight title against Maurice Smith, and you lost to Dennis Hallman.
And you'll have that, I guess.
Yes. I don't even know if they were designed then. It was a long time ago, 12 years ago. Next question, please.
And this is for Matt. Having fought Thiago and GSP, how do you see that fight going?
I really think GSP's on top of the food chain right now. The guy is just. I think he'll when he wants to take Thiago down, I think he'll take him down. If they were to do a boxing match, it'd be very interesting to me to see who the better striker was. Well, GSP's a good striker and a good wrestler. That's really how I would phrase him. But what he does so well is he puts the 2 together. And that transition period is what he does so well. So, Thiago's very good at defense. on wrestling, and he's probably a better striker than GSP is, but he doesn't do that transition well that GSP does.
Right. How about the vicious leg kicks? Obviously, we've learned from the past that when you throw kicks, you're susceptible to being taken down. But if you can get those kicks off early, get on that front leg a little bit, GSP might lose some explosiveness. If you were Thiago, would you let the leg fly? Would you look for the kick? Or would you be worried about the fact that GSP will take you down?
Well, he's going to have to disguise it. And, I always tell guys in my gym, if you're going to throw kicks, you got to disguise them with your hands first. Don't throw just blind kicks out there. Throw your hands first, then follow up with a kick. So I think Thiago, he's definitely going to let his legs go. He's got to use all the tools in his toolbox to win that fight. But yet he can't go out there and be silly about it. He's got to be very smart about it. He's got to come up with a good game plan, and he's got to initiate that game plan out there.
And that definitively will be his biggest advantage. That's the thing that sticks out in Thiago's arsenal as the biggest advantage over GSP are those leg kicks. There's our wicked Muay Thai kicks. Next question, please.
Hey, Matt, thanks for coming to Ohio. Hey, I had two questions. One, what's the hardest you've ever been hit?
It's been in my gym. People wouldn't
Let's
think.
say in the cage.
In the cage.
Was it on the farm by Mark?
Could have been.
Could have been.
BJ hit me good when he beat me. That was a good hit. That's how he got that submission on me, was because of the hit before that. So it could have been that hit. He was standing over the top of me, come down with all his body weight. So just that might be the big hit. Really affected me.
The second question is, if you had to bet the farm of all the coming fighters, which one do you think is going to be the next title holder in its respective weight class? Which young guys do you really wish to keep your eyes on right now?
I wouldn't bet.
Well, don't bet. You don't know.
Well, I'm going to explain that. I don't. When I get done doing this, I'm going to go backstage. I'm going to go. Probably leave here in a little bit, maybe even before the weigh-ins. I just don't get on the websites. I don't keep track of people. If I wasn't doing this Q&A session right here, I wouldn't have drove over. I used to be a huge fan of the sport, and now that I've got kids and a wife, I found other outlets. So I could,
You have a life?
I've got outside of the UFC, yes I do. But I know the main event, but that's the only person I know that's even on this card. And it's nothing to do with those guys. It's just that I just know the main event because that's what's been public.
SpongeBob is taking over.
Man, I'm not a TV believer. And I don't watch TV. If I've got time to watch TV, I've got time to go in my garage and do something, go out in the farm and work, play with my kid or whatever. So yeah, if I'm watching TV, it's usually SpongeBob.
Yes, exactly. I get
or my
double
9-year-old
SpongeBob's in the morning.
loves Star Wars.
So, Mike,
Yes.
you want to answer that question? Because you watch it all the time.
Good, nice.
If I weren't here doing this Q&A and announcing every UFC, I wouldn't watch the sport. And women's volleyball rocked. Seriously. Matt Hughes is a handsome man, but I would much rather talk about Kerry Walsh. I got to be honest. And Rachel Walkholder. No offense, brother.
You're avoiding the question, buddy.
I am.
You got there.
You know what? Thiago Alves is really, to me, is the next guy. And I agree with what Matt's saying about where GSP is right now. But that kid can make 170. He's big. He's strong. His kicks are perfect. They're vicious. I don't know how guys take more than one of those kicks. I don't know how you guys take kicks from a guy like that. And he obviously was able to hit you with some kicks in your knee and the whole bit. And I think that he's one of the young guys right now that we really got to look out for. I think that he's got an incredible future. And I think when you look at some of the other possibilities of fights coming up, it's kind of all these kind of super fights, like who's going to be next against Anderson Silva? Is Anderson Silva going to run the table for a long time? Is Rashad going to meet Rampage? And so I don't see a lot of other guys right now at the forefront, but I will say that the Pitbull Thiago Alves would be that young guy if you were to ask me the question of the guy who's the next in line.
Light heavyweight. Who is the guy who beat Tito? He just fought Silva.
Lyoto Machida?
Machida. He's good.
He's good. And probably what's going to happen is if Jardine wins, then there's a lot of talk that Machida will get a title shot against Rashad Evans. He's great. Everybody talks about him being so elusive, Matt, but I never thought it took a smart fighter to sit there and get hit. I thought the idea was not to get hit, right? So everybody wants to be critical of his style, but the fact of the matter is that, and he was aggressive against Thiago Silva too.
And one thing about his style is it's very different than anybody else trains against.
Yep.
So it's you're going out there and you're thinking, man, I've never seen this before. What do I do? And and so I mean, and people underestimate his ground game too. I think. I mean, it's a black belt. I mean, so it's not like you can take the guy down and you think you're in your own world.
So you got Machida and Alves, two fine Brazilians that I'd say are right at the top of the list. Next question over here, please.
Mike, I have one for you. I saw you at UFC 94 in Vegas, and I asked I asked Rashad who he wanted to win the Super Bowl. So I just wanted to say sorry about your Cardinals.
Thank you. It hurt a little bit. Kevin, thanks a lot.
I think I might have a Band-Aid for you, so.
I've definitely been bleeding a lot.
First up on the scale, Shane Nelson.
fights in a row, and that's my goal right now.
When I get hit and I feel like, oh, this guy's trying to knock me out, then I try to break my foot off in their ass.
See how much he wants to win this fight.
I don't care what Jardine tries to do. It don't matter. Jardine's chin is kind of suspect. He's going to need all the help he can get. I don't think my spirit's ever been broke in my life. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. I don't care what happens.
Fighting's all about the heart, and nobody has a bigger heart than I do.
Probably see Keith Jardine get knocked the hell out. Jardine don't know what he's in store for.
After I beat Quentin, everyone will be talking about it. It's just going to create more buzz.
And my job is to knock him out fast. I can knock him out. I would hate to be Keith.
Division. Does it put you in an awkward position because your good friend and training partner is the current UFC light heavyweight champion?
Hell yeah!
Give us your thoughts on tomorrow's fight.
It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be two guys going to try and claim the center of the octagon. And
Can't wait to see it. Keith Jardine, ladies and gentlemen. Devastating knockout victory over Vanderlei Silva. You're taking on a very unorthodox fighter in Keith Jardine. Give us your thoughts on tomorrow night's fight.
Tonight, I'm putting it all on the line. I'm putting everything on the line.
You always do. We can't wait to see it.